This bill delivers the most transformative investment in children and caregiving in generations, the largest effort to combat climate change in American history, the biggest expansion of affordable health coverage in a decade, the most significant effort to bring down costs and strengthen the middle class in generations, investments and key reforms to make our tax system more equitable, and more.
It will bring down the everyday costs for housing and higher education that make it harder for Americans to secure a place in our middle class.
The bill makes child care affordable and secures universal preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds, lowering the costs of working families and boosting our economy by helping parents re-enter the workforce.
The Build Back Better Act is a tax cut for working families.
We're also providing students to be able to go to community college, HBCUs, 4-year college with $550 in Pell Grants.
We are also ensuring 4 weeks of paid leave for all workers so that nobody has to lose their job in order to take care of themselves or loved ones.
With more than $151 billion for housing in this bill, Democrats are helping families achieve housing stability and housing affordability.
Today, we say to families everywhere that we will cut your child care costs in half and provide universal pre-K to 3 and 4-year-olds.
Parents want to go to work knowing that their kids are being taken care of, that their kids are learning, because when kids are learning, parents are earning.
This bill is about families and fairness.
We will provide 26 million children with access to affordable, quality childcare and universal pre-K. This will let families, and especially women in this country, get back to work and give all of our kids a great start.
The bill includes a 1-year extension of the child tax credit, a historic middle-class tax cut for families. It's already lifted 3.5 million children out of poverty.
Build Back Better seriously reduces long-standing poverty among children. Which children? All children.
It guarantees that the cost of child care will not exceed 7% of a family's income. It includes paid family and medical leave, which responds to the needs of all people so they can take time off to care for themselves or a loved one.
This bill is good for our country. It will unquestionably enhance the future of our children, but also improve the here and now for their parents and grandparents, creating opportunities like universal pre-K.
This bill provides every working family, not just with the resources to succeed in our country, but with the dignity that they deserve by playing a part in our democracy.
Through the Build Back Better Act, we have an opening to invest in children and families by expanding the child tax credit and universal pre-K.
This is an ambitious package, but it makes major investments, emphasis on the word investment, in our economy, workers, and families, but it also responsibly meets the time in which we live.
Build Back Better sends a message to every single American that we are on your side.
This Build Back Better legislation will make health care accessible and affordable for 2.2 million low-income, uninsured Americans that exist in the Medicaid coverage gap.
We lower health care costs by allowing Medicare to negotiate the price of drugs like insulin, lowering out-of-pocket costs for those families back home that I represent.
Included in this bill are the most far-reaching and impactful prescription drug reforms to pass this Congress in my lifetime.
Families left out and left behind can finally see a family physician.
This legislation builds on our efforts to make healthcare more affordable and accessible for all Americans, including millions unfairly caught in the Medicaid coverage gap.
The Build Back Better Act will invest in the creation of millions of good-paying jobs.
I'm incredibly proud that this bill includes $3.36 billion to
to create the regional innovation clusters envisioned in my proposal. Not only will this investment enhance our ability to be competitive, but it will create jobs at a time when they're needed the most.
To build back better, we must invest in our nation's entrepreneurs. And that is exactly what this bill does. It will create millions of new jobs on top of the millions already added under the Biden administration.
Also, it will help build rewarding careers create jobs through workforce development, funding for underserved populations.
Mr. Speaker, this bill will boost our economy in the best and strongest way by investing in our workforce and increasing labor force participation.
With the Build Back Better Act, we are investing in a strong economy, in jobs, and ensuring that children, families, and all of our communities can compete and succeed equitably in the 21st century.
Build Back Better is a better agenda for workers, for families, for children, and for our planet. If you believe, as I do, that this planet is God's creation, we have a moral obligation to be good stewards of it, this bill's for you. But even if you don't share that view, and I think most of us do, if you don't share that view, we all agree that we have a moral responsibility to our children, to their future, to pass on the planet in a responsible way.
I rise in support of the largest effort to combat climate change in American history.
The Build Back Better Act will invest in a green economy, a sustainable economy, a resilient economy, and lower energy costs for everyday Americans.
I also want to acknowledge the major investments in our clean energy future to tackle the climate crisis and create good union jobs.
Build Back Better also seriously tackles climate change by moving us toward our 2030 emissions reduction goals and does it by producing high-paying green union jobs.
This bill includes the most sweeping and ambitious climate policy ever passed by Congress.
It helps us tackle the climate crisis, bolsters resilience, and creates economic and job opportunities and good-paying jobs for millions.
And here's the kicker. Because our tax system has been so unjust, so tilted to benefit the well-off and the well-connected, we can pay for all of this by simply making our tax code more fair. It's a hell of a deal. Enacting this legislation will be a momentous achievement for Congress, but more importantly, it will change lives, it will save lives, and deliver on the promise of the American dream for generations to come.